Welcome to the Jen Cares powered by Chozen Live podcast, a podcast that brings the community to you. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chozen Counselors. We are a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for coming back again, for liking, for commenting, and all that jazz. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to follow. So that you always know when we're going live, because we're always going to bring you something amazing. Why? Because we specialize in bringing the community to you. Friends, I hope you enjoyed our series from last month. Boss up. It was something good, okay? We had the mental boss. We had the community boss. We had the financial boss. We had the business boss. And let me tell you, Davida, Tyra, Dr. Tina and Robin, they did amazing. So if you missed it, be sure to catch that replay, okay? Because it was really, really good, because there's some areas that we want to boss up in. And if you want to be a boss, you got to pay the call sometimes. And, let me go to my notes, because it was something that Robin said about that boss thing. She said that the boss stood for boundaries. We got to be able to create some boundaries in being a boss, okay? We want to be organized and have some order about ourselves, okay? If we want to be a boss to keep things going, because there ain't nothing like a boss that don't have their stuff together. Okay, let me move on. But as she talked about having structure, it's important that you have some structure. And that final S was systems, having some things in place so that you know what it is that you're doing, because everybody is not gifted to be a boss. We've all experienced somebody along the way that's not gifted to be a boss. But I am so glad that you all joined me on tonight. This month is Women's History Month, and I want to honor somebody. I want to honor Madam Speaker Joanna McClinton. She is a Philly native, and in 2018, she became the first woman and African American to be elected as House Democratic Caucus Chair. In 2020, she became the first woman elected House Democratic leader. And now she is the first woman to serve as a majority leader, being elected as the first woman Speaker of the PA House. She is breaking barriers and making history. And guess what? Her name is now Madam, okay? Talk to her correctly. Put some respect on her name. I am so proud to call her a friend. She is dope, amazing. If you ever have a chance to come into her presence, she is just a gem. So today we honor Madam. Okay, Madam Joanna McClinton for our Women's History Month. So tonight we start our new series of the month. I'm still marching.
Left, right, left.
So friends, last year in March we talked about I'm marching, marching to whatever it is that you want to do. You are focused. When you marching, you in sync, you know what you got to do. And guess what? We're still marching. Whatever it is that we're trying to do for ourselves, we got to keep on marching for us to do that. So tonight we kick off the I'm Still Marching, and we have the amazing Funmi to come on and talk about encourage yourself. She is all about encouraging others. So I am just excited, ecstatic about what's about to happen. So help me welcome my friend for Encourage Yourself.
Hey, Jen. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It is an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
We thank you so much for joining us on tonight. And this is going to be good. Why? Because it ain't nothing like, some encouragement. And sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. Yes. It is not always easy. And we're going to get into that.
Talk about
But over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, "Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great." Again, don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Ooh, what I hear is don't settle. And I say don't settle because honestly, like the Lord has been speaking that to me. And I feel like everywhere I turn, I'm hearing something similar to that, because good is good. But when you have great or God's best, like nothing can beat that. And I feel like sometimes we get good enough and we stop there because we think that's just good. But I'm at a season and a point in my life where I'm like, you know what, God, I want everything that you have for me. And even if that means I have to wait a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm here for the great. I'm here for God's best, you know?
Good is great, but is it good enough?
Yeah.
Already getting good, right? Because sometimes we do settle, and we have to be so careful. There's sometimes that it is a good place to settle, right? Settle an argument, settle a disagreement, where you're walking away, where you both still feel respected, you both were heard, and things of that sort. But if you haven't come to that and say that balance of, okay, we good, we can go forward, is it good enough? Is that good great? Is that something we want to stay in?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But let's just start right there, because with settling, let's talk about the I don't want to say the bad side of it, but the downside of it maybe, because sometimes it's still not good to settle, because sometimes it's like, no, I want to get my point across, I want it to be petty. So it's different layers to settling.
Yeah.
So share about your experience with settling, and what's your stance on it?
Honestly, I feel like when you don't have access or the opportunity to people getting the best that God has to give. I'll say for me, for instance, I'm very grateful for the family that I grew up in. I'm very grateful for two hardworking immigrant parents that came from Nigeria to Americas in the mid 80s. I'm sorry. And I feel like they worked hard to get all that they have now. But I feel like it's just now in my 30s that I'm seeing what it looks like to like go hard and like keep pursuing the dream that you believe that the Lord has placed in your heart. And I feel like God has placed many women, powerful women, who are pursuing everything that God has for you. I feel like I've settled in certain things where I'm just like, maybe I just deserve X, Y, and Z, whether it's like a certain job or like just a certain mindset. I feel like I have settled in the past with the mindset that like, okay, I'll just get a 9-to-5 job. I'll just have an apartment. I'll just have, the basic necessities that I need in order to be a living, thriving adult in my community. But now I feel like God is like, but I have more for you than just that. And so, I mean, I'm again grateful for my foundation, but I feel like there's more that God wants to give to me, not just so I can have it, but to show the women that are behind me, like, it is possible for God to put a huge dream within your heart and you to pursue it, and for Him to make it come to pass. Do not settle. Whether it's a vision that you have for marriage, whether it's a vision that you have for your life and pursuing ministry or businesses, or like many businesses. I've never thought about for myself being an entrepreneur, and I'm not yet there, but it's a desire that the Lord has put in my heart, and He's given me a vision, and He's like, this is just the beginning. Still pursue this. There is more to come. Don't settle in the I can just have the 9-to-5. I can just serve in ministry, and oh, praise the Lord, I'm on hospitality. I can call you to lead and direct and to preach and to prophesy and to do other things. You just don't have to remain here because maybe that's what people think you should do, or culturally that's what people say women should do.
Friends. And in this mindset of settling, where it's sounding like we're speaking of, don't downgrade yourself. You have the capacity to do more than just the norm. You can go out and start that business. You can go out and do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that you aspire to do, and things of that sort. At least we could try, right? Because we can find out doesn't work this way, but let me try it this way.
Yeah.
So in the settling, it's not to downplay ourselves or to downplay the gifts and talents that we have.
Yeah.
You were saying maybe I deserve X, Y, and Z. And sometimes we'll say, maybe I deserve, just to be in this apartment. Maybe I deserve to just be on the job. But if they have a position that will cost me to get a little bit more income, why not apply for it? Why not try? What's the worst that can happen? Because even if they say no, it's maybe a no, not right now, but another opportunity may come along. So friends, we can't downplay ourselves when there is more. And you were sharing how, to be that light for those behind you. But I'm a witness that you're a light also for those before you, because some people are older than you and things of that sort. We all still learning day by day how to handle this thing called life, So we should always be open to learning from other people that if they did it, I could try.
Absolutely.
It may look different, but it doesn't mean I can't try.
Yeah. And I love what you said, Jen, about that. Just what's the worst that could happen? They say no. The door isn't opened at this time. And I feel like I always had a fear of like, oh my God, it's not going to happen. Oh my God, they're going to reject me. But it's like when you start to recognize who you are and whose you are, right? As a follower and believer of Jesus Christ, I know that there's nothing impossible for my Father to do. And because I'm his daughter, if the door is closed, that means he has another door for me to be open for me, or he has another opportunity or something else better in place and plan for my life that I don't yet understand and can see in this current moment. So I feel like we don't have to fear oh my God, the worst that could happen. Oh my God, when you're his and you know that. You know his capability. And I love something else you said, that we have capacity for more.
Yes.
If you don't feel like you have the capacity for more, you're going to stay here when God is calling you up higher.
And that's an encouraging yourself. It takes a second to get there.
It does.
It takes a second to get there. And I know this is not really church service, friends, but I love the Lord. And if it's a door, I'm going to go in and talk about him a little bit. Because in the Bible, it talks about this guy named Joseph, right? And Joseph had this dream. And he had these brothers, and he was telling them brothers about the dream. And they weren't feeling it. They was like, whatever. We supposed to bow to you, like who you think you are, and things of that sort. And what happens is sometimes we get around people and we tell them our dream. Getting good, and they can't handle it. They don't have the capacity. Why? Because God didn't tell them the dream. He told Joseph the dream, and Joseph was trying to share it because he was excited, and they wasn't trying to hear it. It happens still today. Nothing new under the sun, right? So then time goes on, and they sold him into slavery. Y'all go read the story. You should know. You may know the story. If you don't know the story, go read the story. I just say a little bit of pieces. You'll get the highlights and things. So they sell him. He's in this pit, and in the pit he should have died, but somebody pulled him out, and he gets survived. So sometimes we get to our lowest of low, and it really look like, who's going to help me if my own brothers put me here? If my own friends put me here, how I'm going to get out? So somebody gets him out of the pit. He goes and he's working and he's doing amazing things. Then he gets into some trouble because somebody else seemed like, oh, he looks nice. Let me see if I can let him be a little boo thing, even though I'm married. That happens too. If it ain't your wife, leave it alone. If it ain't your husband, leave it alone. God bless. We got to move. So then he goes into jail and he's in jail for a little while, but his gifting still is making room for him even in jail. Wow. So when we got to encourage ourselves, we can get to the lowest of low, okay? But God still can make a way for us to get out of that thing. And in those moments, he had to encourage himself like, God, you told me this dream. You showed me it was going to work out this way. You showed me blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But still, he had no idea it was going to be the path that it was.
Come on.
But when he trusted the process, he encouraged himself to keep himself going through. And then he came out on top, humbly, because he still was like, how can I help you? They got scared. He about to kill us because we did set him up. We were trying to let him go out. But he's still loving us. He still cares for us. And that's how God love is too. He takes us through. But if we just keep on marching, if we keep on encouraging ourselves and trusting in him.
Yeah.
Oh, that got good to me for a second. But I hope it encouraged somebody. So friends, and the low is a low. You got to encourage yourself in those seasons too, because God will give you something. And you'll feel like maybe I can't do it because we told the wrong person.
Yes.
Somebody said, tell some, keep some, always have some. Sometimes you got to keep that for you and just let them see what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. It's so good. And Jen, one thing I want to just touch, I know but I love the story of Joseph. And I so I identify with Joseph because I'm a dreamer and God
Yes.
shows me a lot of things.
Yes.
And one thing that when I was doing some study about that, it says, I believe, and I might be paraphrasing, but the Lord was with Joseph and caused him to be successful. It says that over and over and over. So every stage of his life,
Yes.
the Lord was with Joseph, and he's not only with Joseph, but he's with us. So when you are that person who is at the lowest point and
Yes.
you feel like things are not working, you're frustrated, you've been met with much disappointment, the Lord, your God, is with you wherever you go. And that's something that I often have to hold on to. One thing about being an encourager is that one of the ways the enemy attacks is with discouragement. So you have to stand on what you know
Yes.
and declare those things over your life and continue to encourage yourself in the Lord, because it's like things gonna get a little rocky, and you have to continuously just kind of have that at the forefront of your mind, like who God is and what he's gifted you to do and what he's called you to do. It may not look like it right now, but yeah, continue to encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. Speak those words of positive words of encouragement and affirmation.
Yes.
Like don't speak the negative things. Don't speak things that will kind of turn what God is saying or doing into the opposite, because then you get to see that.
So over here we specialize in bringing community to you, and sometimes we do some tough conversations. We touch the pole a little bit because you said that God is with you.
Yes.
And to kick off this theme of I'm still marching and we're encouraging ourselves, sometimes I don't feel like he's with me, right?
Yeah.
And we want to be able to encourage our friends that's listening to some situations that we may have had where it's like, I know you said he's with me. I know he'll never leave me nor forsake me, but right now I feel like he forsaken me. I feel like the weapons are formed against me and they close to prospering. Because they like, I feel like if I move 1 inch, but a hair, the chinny chin chin, whatever, it's about to get me, right? So in those moments is the part that I want to encourage our friends with tonight of sometimes you may feel that you are alone, but you're not. God, I can ask God something, he'd be quiet, and I'd be like, maybe he didn't hear me. Let me ask him again, right? And then sometimes I can ask him, he like, John, you want to start? I'm like, oh, you got time today, Jesus. Me and his relationship. We got hey, this is we talking things that sort. But I've learned that in those moments where he's not listening, he's trying to help me to sit down and pay attention to what's going on so that I can make the right step. So let's talk about those moments when you felt that maybe he wasn't there. What has encouraged you to keep on going?
Man, those are some real times. I mean, I remember a time in particular I feel like was going through heartbreak. And I mean, this breakup, woo, I was on the floor screaming and crying. And one thing that I recognize now, looking back, is that the Lord was there with me. He may have been silent, but he indeed was there with me. And what started to happen, because I was so desperate for like real life comfort, the Holy Spirit, because it's not anything that I did, but he began to put a seek within my heart to pray, to read the word about what his word says about those that are experiencing heartbreak or disappointment or discouragement. And I feel like in the times where I was at my lowest, I began to know God for real on a different level, because it's easy, Jen, when all is well, for us to say, man, God is faithful. Man, God is he's a provider. Yes. But how can you say that you have faith and trust in a God who you cannot see when in the deepest, darkest pit, you're like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? And he begins to show you himself, because the word that is implanted in you, because you're meditating on it, you're praying, you're you're worshiping, you're praising, it really begins to become something that you understand, and you know, you see God, that when you're crying, you're screaming and carrying on, and next thing you know, the peace that surpasses human understanding begins to abide within you, because literally he says he keeps him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. And so because the Holy Spirit inside me said this, you're going to keep your mind stayed on the Lord your God. You're gonna seek after him like never before, and you're gonna be able to understand what it looks like to have faith, what it looks like to trust God, what it looks like to depend on him when literally what you thought was gonna be something else, was gonna turn into marriage, is no longer. Who you thought were some of your friends in that season, they're no longer. You can only depend on me, because I'm dependable, I'm trustworthy, I'm your heavenly Father, and you're my daughter, and I got you.
So, you know, I still gonna touch the water a little bit, right? I'm still gonna touch the water a little bit.
Okay.
Because the other side of that, right, is sometimes we get into some situations that we knew we shouldn't have got into. And we then get on the other side, and we're in that heartbreak situation. Like, oh my gosh, he was supposed to marry me. He loved me. I loved him. That job was supposed to do this. That thing was supposed to do this. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. However, sometimes if we take a pulse to evaluate some situation, we're like, yeah, I wasn't even supposed to be in there. One of my the girls on Instagram, she does a skit, and she'll be like, "Hey guys, so you know, I think he's the one," and guys like, "He's not the one," but I really think like he could be the one. He's not the one, and she'll do this eye contact, you know, eye stare thing with him, and be like, "All right, I'm seeing for myself." And sometimes we see it for ourselves, and when that baby came back, she was like, "Okay, clearly you were telling the truth. I just thought that I could change him. I thought that I could change the job. I thought that I could change that person, place, or thing, whatever it is, right?" And sometimes we have to be mindful that sometimes we get ourselves into some old situations. In this marching thing, we still marching, right? But in that moment, we have to encourage ourselves that, yes, I made a mistake. We got to come to the realization, the man in the mirror. You know, Michael knew what he was talking about. Talking with the man in the mirror, because it started with you. I got to talk to me like, Jennifer, you know good and well. You had no business. Right? So it's not until we really get honest with ourselves that we can change something, because, you know, we saying God with us, and God like, yeah, I was with you, but I still told you not to do X, Y, and Z, right? So now we're trying to lay on arms at the altar, like, oh my gosh, our friends, we trying to cry to them, and our friends like, I saw that red flag the minute you say that baby name, you know? But in this thing of encouraging ourselves, friends, when we get into the situation and it was our fault, it's okay.
It's okay.
Forgive yourself. Love yourself. Try to do better next time.
Yes. Ooh, girl.
Try to do better next time.
You all in the business, like real life, right? You know, and I first of all, thank God for his mercy.
Yes.
Because there are certain situations that you are right, we have gotten ourselves into. The flags were clear, but because of our human flesh and sin nature, we just got to go see about that thing ourselves. And the Lord will allow, okay? Oh, you really desire this? I will allow you. So then you can come back and say, God, Lord, forgive me, and repent and be like, you know what? Now that I know, I really want what you have for me, God. I don't want to be over here thinking I know best in my own wisdom. Which is not even, it's just foolishness, right? You know what? Because if you were truly wise, you would have listened to the Lord the first time and been obedient to that which he was telling you to do, instead of getting yourself in this mess. And I'm just thankful for the forgiveness that God gives, man. He's faithful and just to forgive us when we confess our sin. He wants us to repent and turn away from that thing.
Yes.
So then we can be like, you know what, God, nah, you really do know what you're doing.
You do know what you're doing. I mean, I thought I was helping you, but clearly you did not need my help. But you did not need my help. But just being wise. I mean, to my friends that aren't saved, I talk about Jesus because I love Jesus. We talk about him. We want to talk to them offline, send me a message. But to those that don't know Jesus, we still also have this thing called discernment. We have this intuition where sometimes we know that a situation ain't right. Why? Because God loves us just that much. He'll try to help us. Don't go down that street. You're like, I don't know why I shouldn't go down. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with friends that aren't really like churchy friends or, building a relationship with God and things like that. And they're like, yeah, because sexually, they're like, I said, well, maybe, just maybe, God is trying to help you to not get into a situation you don't want to be in. It was like, yeah, sometimes I listen to it, sometimes I don't. Friends, no matter where you are, if you get that little unction, that little discernment that's telling you run, you go ahead and get out of that situation. Okay?
Ooh, that's true. That is true. And so, I honestly can identify with that too, because before I was walking with the Lord, there were times in college that something something isn't right, and made a mistake, and I reaped the consequence of that, making that mistake. So it's real.
So friends, hey Robin Shine, you better run. Yes. Run.
Yes, ma'am.
The baby from the fire. I ain't grab her shoes or nothing. Ain't nobody got time for that, sis. Bruh, run. Because we get ourselves into some situations that we don't even need to be in. If we can help it, we can stay out of. And we don't have to always learn from being inexperienced. If that's you, God bless. I can listen to somebody else's story and be like, yep, okay, let me pay attention so I don't get myself caught up in an entanglement I can't get myself out of. Okay, so marching, we're still marching. So encouraging ourselves. When we mess up, we get back up again. That's what Donnie said. Get back up again.
Yes.
And try again. Amen. In encouraging people, let's talk about when it's not easy to encourage somebody else because you need encouragement yourself.
Yeah, that's real. I think because I believe this gift of encouragement is from the Lord. It's not me doing it, and so when it becomes difficult because I'm in need of it, that's how I know that I need to do it even the more. And so I believe encouragers should remain in a place of sensitivity, but at the feet of Jesus, because our encouragement, comes straight from the Spirit of God. I can't give you something that you are in need of if I'm not hearing from him. And so the times where I'm like, God, I need prayer. I need the encouragement. It's like, remember, this gift is for the body of Christ, for his sons and daughters. So therefore you getting all, frustrated and all in a tizzy because you're in need of encouragement. Well, go back to the feet of your Father. It's in the secret places where he'll begin to do the things. And I honestly, 9 times out of 10, the content that I'm posting that is encouraging others is because the Father was encouraging me in my private prayer time. And so if I remain in that place, I should remain encouraged because I'm getting what I need that also his sons and daughters are in need of as well.
And friends, I'm gonna keep us balanced because again, I know everybody don't know Jesus yet, right? Encouragement, anybody can have encouragement. Encouragement is simply just cheering somebody up, giving somebody hope, giving somebody confidence, uplifting somebody. How hard is it to say, you know what? Keep your head up. I remember it was a clip of a basketball game, and a young guy was walking. He had his head down because he did not do a good play, and the other young guy came up to him, lifted his head up, and kept on walking. That's as simple as it is. And you'd be surprised how a little bit of encouragement goes a long, long way.
Absolutely.
So friends, encourage somebody today. It's still time. Send a message. Put a message in the chat, to encourage somebody because it is so, so, so needed. Sometimes we feel like giving up.
So true. So true. And even like you said, like not everyone that I encourage is a believer. I mean, I encourage people at work. And I think what you said is just the heart of it is just to lift them up. Whether it's like you see someone, can I give you a hug?
Yes.
How are you doing? What's going on with you? And I feel like those simple ways, like you said, have made a world of a difference. And they experience the love of Christ through me, even if I'm not saying Jesus or God said or the Lord, but they're experiencing the love of Christ through those simple things.
Yeah, because if we're honest, sometimes people Dang on it, Jesus. Okay. She here now. She gonna do it. Because if we're honest, sometimes people have experienced some experiences in church that wasn't too nice.
That part.
We're not all doing a good job sometimes of representing God, right?
Yeah.
So if I put Jesus in it, I done messed up somebody. But if I'm just being consistent and giving some love to somebody, they're like, maybe they're not all that bad. Maybe it is okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So friends, people are paying attention to how you act and how you respond and what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's really just giving the words, you know? Because you get somebody King James, they be like, what? Thee, thou, this, who? But if I just tell you this man was in the body of a whale, what? I got you intrigued. You want to know a little bit more. Yeah, because he wasn't listening. He was supposed to do something. He didn't do it right. So he got in the body of the wave. He was in there, you know. How he get out? Because he said he was going to do what he was supposed to be doing, you know. And these times it could be they're supposed to do something. They didn't do it right. They ended up in jail. Oh, how they get there? They wasn't listening. They wasn't handling their stuff right. They got it. How they get out? They did their time. They came out. They did a little bit better. So they had to go back. So it's, you know, sometimes you got to give a different way, you know, still getting there, but a different way to really help and encourage them to be like, I'm encouraged. And sometimes it's telling a little bit of your story.
Ooh, the personal testimony can really like tug at the heart of a person, and you know, they can identify. I love sharing, you know, something that, because again, haven't always been saved and known the Lord and follower of Jesus, and there's some real life experiences that prior to really walking with him that I can identify with. You know, some of our young people, you know, some of my parents, even those older than me, and that I've been able to share and be like, listen, this was a time and I wasn't always, but God helped me. And, you know, and thank God, I recognize now that, oh, this was God that helped me through. Back then, maybe not. It's like, I got through again. But it's like, no, it wasn't anything on my own. That was God, the hand of God on my life. So yeah.
Why is it important, you think, for us to get encouragement?
Honestly, I feel like it affects everything that we do. If you're at a place where you are feeling low, depressed, maybe, it's like your light is dim. And I believe that, you know, the Lord calls all of us, you know, whether we're not yet saved, to just be a light, like to come into a space and just bring joy and peace and calmness. And when you're not in that place where you are encouraged, I feel like it's hard to shine brightly. The light is so dim, and your light can just help somebody else. And I just think it's important to be constantly encouraged. And so for me, I'm so mindful of what I'm listening to and who I have like prolonged conversations with, because if I am discouraged, it affects how I start talking. You know, listen, some of the words out of my mouth are not building someone else up if I'm discouraged. You know what I'm saying? And
We're gonna be honest.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm not always speaking words of positivity and affirmation and encouragement. You know, sometimes a curse word has slipped out, and I'm like, okay, Funmi. Like, that's how I know, like, you're not where you need to be. And so I feel like it's so important so that we can continue to uplift and encourage others and just shine. Like, so many things are happening in the world. You know, people are in places where they're without, people are in places where there's war, people are in places, you know, extreme poverty, whatever. There's so many things. And I'm like, we should, as much as we can, be a person who can exude joy and peace and just help other people out. Because you know, life is hard. It's hard.
Life can be hard. This has been the theme of the conversation for a couple weeks now, of how life be life, and that's our theme for April. Be sure to come back. Okay. Because what we thought life was, and this adulting thing is a whole nother beast. But it happens. But two things. One, she said, you know, sleeping with a cuss word and things of sort. Not saying that cussing is bad, because I know some people that's just second nature and like, and it's not an attempt to degrade somebody, not an attempt, it's just one of the other words. You say it as much as you say me. But it's also expanding our vocabulary sometimes. We don't always have to cuss. to get our point across and things of that sort. And depending on who we're talking to, just being mindful. And they call it like code switching of knowing when you can let your hair down and when you need to just put a pin in there and save it for later. Okay. But the other thing is like with that, encouraging somebody, saying something nice, finding something nice to say. You've ever seen with us in a picture of the baby, you're like, that bib is pretty. Find something nice to say because it's the simplest things. If you don't enjoy some of the smiles, it's like, look, your shoes stay tied. That is good because mine's would have came loose. So finding something because sometimes people are nervous, sometimes people are scared, and if we can do just that little to say, you're doing a good job.
Yeah,
you're a great mom. You're a great dad. You're a great friend. You're a great man. You're a great woman. Those little things, friends, if you're listening, those, whatever, gravitates for you, you're a great woman. You're a great man. You are intelligent. Because sometimes we're told things that will dumb us down because that's settling thing, right? And we think that maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I can't do. Maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
We got to be careful. How can we get out of those dumps when we are in those places?
I feel like I have my go-tos. Like there's some things that I personally love to listen to music. I've grown up, I grew up, Nigerian home, listening to music and all the beats and the drums. So I love to listen to a lot of Nigerian praise and worship. So I got a song, my go-to, I'm turning on my go-to song. Or honestly, I ask a friend to pray for me. Like, sis, I can't pray for myself. I need you to pray for me. I need some encouragement. I'm feeling discouraged. Or honestly, sometimes I go to sleep and take a nap. Because sometimes I just need a moment. I'm like, you know what, God, life is happening and hitting me and I'm facing some challenges. I'm going to just take a nap and we're going to deal with this when I wake up.
Hilarious. I love it. Again, you got to find what works for you,
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to always bring a little balance piece because sometimes your song might be different. It might be I will survive as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. You got to encourage yourself whatever way. Destiny's Child did a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. Whatever song it is that brings you joy. Lizzo came out with a song, In Case Nobody Told You Today, You're Special. In case nobody made you believe, you're special. I will always love you the same. You're special. I'm so glad you're still with us. Broken, but dang, you're special. And it's those little things that encourages us. I can put that song, I'm special. Yes, I am. What? And it get me encouraged, get me hyped up. So find whatever it is that will encourage you, keep you hyped up, knowing that you're doing an amazing job.
Yep. That's it. Also, I think another thing that's really helpful is finding someone or something that makes you laugh. Because once you just start to laugh, it's like you can't even help it. Like your mood is lifted. And so I love to laugh. I love comedy. There's so many funny like Instagram and TikTok pages that I'm like, let me just go look at their page real quick and have a laugh at something funny that they posted. So that's also a good thing, I feel like, to encourage.
It's so important because one laugh to keep from crying, but just to laugh, it'll bring a cry, but it also brings like a release and be able to experience all the feelings. If we're staying in that sad feeling too long, we'll feel like, I don't want to do that. But if I'm in the happy and in the sad, I'm finding the balance of it all because we won't always be high. There does come a time where you go low. Because I tell you, my little cheeks, they're like, oh, your cheeks are so precious. I said they get on my nerves after a while because if they stay up too long, they can hurt. So I can't stay there all the time. I gotta bring them down, because you gotta be able to fluctuate. Because if not, I'd be like this. I'm like, girl, okay, they tired. Depending on the situation, I'm like, please start talking to me, y'all, because my cheeks, So again, find the balance, so that you're not hurting your cheeks. Okay, you're not hurting your cheeks. Oh goodness, this is good. So in encouraging, we finding out that it is important. I think another thing is really an inventory to find out what makes you feel encouraged, right? Because I could say, you're beautiful. I know, thank you, humbly speaking, right? But sometimes hearing the same old can make you feel like, are you just trying to fluff me? Or are you really telling me the truth? Like, what's going on? So I guess how can one do an inventory to find out what best works for them and what it is that they need to feel encouraged?
Ooh, that's a good question. Something just came to my mind when you said, like, if someone says something, then you start questioning, like, oh, are they being, genuine or authentic? Or maybe if you kind of something within you kind of gets a little like, I don't know. And I feel like it could be that there's a root to an insecurity that maybe you really kind of need to deal with. And I feel like the opportunity to deal with insecurities can happen in a multitude of ways, as I'm sure you know, as a counselor and all, and through therapy and stuff like that. But I feel like if someone says something to me that kind of is like, I don't know, I kind of have to take a pause, and just like be like, okay, like, why did you respond that way? But one thing that also, as you continue to grow and maybe you're on a journey of self-discovery, sit down with yourself and like, okay, I kind of had to tell my friends, I don't know if it was earlier this year or maybe last year, like, okay, if you say X, Y, Z to me in the midst of me kind of telling you maybe a story or difficulty, this is not helpful. I like to be encouraged, or I need you to affirm me by saying some specific things. Sometimes you giving me all these facts and stuff in the moment is not really helpful. So I feel like the more you like just sit down with yourself and then you kind of evaluate some conversations you've either had with friends or family, colleagues, where you start to notice like, man, I really don't like when someone says X, Y, and Z, or I really prefer maybe they encourage me by sending me something, but not necessarily like, oh, hey, check out this link, or hey, listen to this song, or check out this article, versus you kind of sending me a long paragraph text message. Or maybe I love when someone sends me a voice note, and that really encourages me. Or I love when someone encourages me with a card. And it kind of, I feel like, goes into maybe the love languages, because maybe like in the same way that we kind of love to receive love, we love to receive encouragement in different little ways. But I've only discovered this as I continue to just, sit with myself and get a little older. Now I'm still young. Okay. I'm still young, but I feel like I've, I've discovered more of what I like and dislike, and had the confidence to share with people, because I feel like I don't like to ruffle feathers sometimes. And I don't want to share that I didn't appreciate how you did something or said something. But now it's like, no, you know what? Walk in the freedom of just sharing your authentic self. And sometimes it's not easy, but you can do it.
Yes, it all good pieces. It definitely goes around with your love languages and finding out what it is that makes you feel special, what it is that makes you feel loved, appreciated. And it's so critical that we express that to somebody else. Because if we don't, we'll feel unfulfilled. We'll feel sad. They're getting everything that they need because we're giving them a love language that they appreciate, maybe. But if you're not getting it back, it gets discouraging. We need to keep giving it. You're like, well, nobody's filling up my tank. How can I give? What do I have to give if nobody's filling up my tank? So really having that inventory to know what it is that is your love language. But then again, having that conversation. We have so many relationships where we give up. And sometimes we have that conversation like, oh, I didn't know. You like gifts. I'm not a gift giver. I will now start giving you gifts. And as I'm saying, I got to think of some people, because I know some people that are gift people. I don't buy gifts. That's not always my thing, but they like gifts. So I want to take that effort because I appreciate their friendship. I want to keep that thing going, let them feel loved. Let me give you a gift. I got one family, I give her, like daycare passes, things of that sort. That way she know that her kids taken care of. She go out and do her things. That's an amazing gift to her. She like, I got my 2 this year. The clock started again. I got two nights. But again, find out what it is where that person feels special, feel valued, so that you keep that thing going.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful.
Because if not, we get some situations where it's toxic. Speaking of toxic, because we got to encourage ourselves to get out of toxic situations, right? We're so, yeah, you're getting ready. Okay. We can see it so clearly in other people, and sometimes we miss it in our own lives because we have rose-colored glasses for our situations. But the glasses we got for everybody is like clear. We're like, I see that. You saw that. They shouldn't have did that. Sis, bruh, you doing the same thing. So in these pieces, how can we identify what's in front of us to be able to know the different levels of encouraging ourselves and knowing when it's like, oh, wait, that's me. I got to get me together.
Yes. Honestly, I feel like there are blind spots that we have, right? And the only way you're able to see a blind spot is if someone else tells you. And one of the gifts that we have in life is friendship. People who can hold you accountable. I have a mentor. I have two mentors. There are people, close sister friends that have pointed out things to me. I have to be honest. There's sometimes you kind of know that you do some things, but you just like, well, it is what it is. I am who I am. But when you have people in your life that love you and care for you and desire greater for you, they really cannot be around you and allow you to continue in some of your own toxic ways, right? And I've recognized in some ways I needed to grow. Like my friends had to share those things with me. And then there are some certain things like through growing and journeying with the Lord that He has pointed out that I was like, oh, really? I didn't really know that, God, but okay, that's fine. I guess I will, allow you to continue to work on my character, so I can be a better sister, a better daughter, better employee, a better friend, a future wife. Okay, like all the things. And so it has been through mentorship, friends who love me, through even through some my pastors in my life and have seen some things, and through my relationship with God that has allowed me to pinpoint some of my own toxic behavior, so that I could make adjustments accordingly.
Friends.
Mhm.
Friends. Because we're going to go there again. You ready? Here we go.
Go.
Because sometimes we have those friends. We trust those friends. But when they pulling us on the carpet, do what? And if we ain't careful, sometimes like what you need to be doing, and then we saying stuff we don't need to be saying because we can't put an egg back together that's already been cracked. We all heard the story of Humpty Dumpty.
Yes, ma'am.
So being receptive to know that if this person's telling us this, really taking the meat of it, and I say hold the bone, right? Because sometimes the pieces that we think is a bone, if we let that thing seep in some soup, we find out a lot that bone got. Ooh. That could be applied too. So taking the meat and holding that bone because we never know. All right. And sometimes it gives us an opportunity to clear up misunderstandings. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's really blah, 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 blah. And we had a conversation that's able to sustain that relationship, hold that relationship a little bit longer before making a decision to mess up.
Yeah. That's so good. You like literally hit everything that I've been dealing with and dealt with. And that's a real place. You have to be receptive. I can be honest. I have at times been defensive because I feel like sometimes when you feel like you always have to defend who you are and what you say and what you do, that you just feel like everything is an attack, right? But really, it's people who love you, who see the potential for you to do better, and they want you to do better. And sometimes, honestly, it's in the way that they deliver it. Sometimes it doesn't feel good. I'll admit it doesn't feel good. And sometimes you just have to have a conversation with your friends about like, you know what? I know what you said was right, but I just didn't like how you said it.
Come on.
I became defensive and I could not receive what you were trying to say to me. It's real. It's real.
It's real. And we got to be honest again and encouraging ourselves and saying we're going to keep marching, we're going to keep going. We have to do an inventory of ourselves, friends. We talked about bossing up January. I can't think of what the theme was at this moment. However, we have to take an inventory to find out what is going on with ourselves, to know where is it that we see ourselves going from here. What is our goal for the end of the year? What are we trying to do? So, talking to the man in the mirror. First things first was January. First things first. So we talked about dreams, and we talked about dreams is good. Whatever dreams you have, whatever aspirations you have, and things of that sort. Then we talked about waking up. That's what it was. Wake up. But we talked about dreams with that. Then we talked about Jesus and therapy. Why? Because we can have Jesus and therapy. Then we talked about saying something good, right? So then we went into that boss up phase. But now that we're in this thing, we're saying we're still marching. All right, I know I can have Jesus in therapy. I need to wake up. I need to say something good. I need to boss up in some areas. But also, I got to encourage myself. Because I can have all those things going for me, but then it gets to a moment like, whew, can I make it?
Yeah.
I'm really ready to throw in the towel. Can I be honest? Sometimes I'm ready to throw in the towel. I was saying today, I was like, if I stop drinking care, it's like, but then what would I do? No reason to throw in the towel. We just be thinking of stuff. Like, Jennifer, you ain't got nothing else better to do with your time. What's wrong with what it is that you're doing? Nothing. So why you got to stop it?
Yeah.
Conversations with myself, inventory with myself. And you have to get to the nitty-gritty of that, because sometimes we are limiting ourselves. We're selling and dumbing down ourselves when we have potential to keep on doing great and amazing things. Absolutely. Because it's not just this live. Somebody else watches it. Somebody else shares it. Somebody else tunes in and gets that nugget that they need. Then they're having a conversation with Johnny or Sue, and they're like, no, but we need to encourage each other. I really believe in you. You dope. You got this. And this one conversation sparked that domino effect to help so many more beyond my reach.
Yeah. Keep going, sis. Keep going. Because yes, keep going. It's real. I've been there too. I mean, when the Lord gave me the idea to do Funmi Encourages, I was like, yes, oh my gosh. And then there comes a time where, because we're in the real world and we see other people growing their platforms and getting opportunities, and when it looks like you're not growing at the pace that you would desire to, and that you don't feel like you're reaching the people that God has said that you would, you do feel like, you know what, if I stop, who is really going to miss me and what I'm doing? And I just thank God that like you got the encouragement that you needed, told yourself what you needed to hear. But I just want to affirm you and encourage you as well. Like, sis, like, you are needed. Gen Cares is necessary. And there's so many things that you may not see right now, but when you look back and God begins to and keeps doing what he's doing, you will see like, nah, this was the right decision to keep going. But I was there with you and still there. I stop, then I go, and then I stop, and I go. Then I'm like, oh, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be consistent. And then something happens that discourages us. And you're like, I'll put this to the side for now. But it can be challenging, but I know we're needed.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, because, again, in that moment of encourage yourself, you got to be able to talk yourself off the ledge. Friends, you got to be able to talk yourself off the ledge. I should just give up. I should just give in. Nobody needs me. I'm not. No, sis. No, bro. You are needed. You are important. So, friends, whatever affirmations, that hits home for you, I dare you. Triple D dare you. To write it on a little sticky, put it on your mirror, put it somewhere where you will see it, to remind and encourage yourself. Why? Because if I keep on reminding myself, after a while I believe that thing, right? Learning how you tie your shoe. You kept on trying. Now you can do it with your eyes closed. Why? Because you kept on doing it. And friends, we can't give up. Yes, seasons do change. Yes, some things do have to eventually stop, but it really just picks up for something else to do. Mama Wanda, I don't want no trouble, okay? I don't want no trouble. I encourage myself to keep on going, okay? But that's it too. Like, people are depending on your yes. Yeah. People are depending on you to keep on going.
Yeah.
And I know it stinks. I know that pressure can be daunting. But from your obedience, doors continue to open for you. I can't even tell y'all. If I could just sit and tell some of the business of things that have been happening from me saying yes to doing Gen Cares. I'm grateful. I'm humbled by it. I know that I don't deserve it, but because I'm just trying to help somebody, they see that's the genuineness of my heart to do that. They want to encourage me to keep on doing it, right? So when we do those things, it encourages us to keep on going, right? When somebody sends a message, oh yes, I put your name in, they picked you. What? Thank you for thinking of me. Yeah. Because people are listening. People are watching. People are growing and thriving. Let me go back to my story of Joseph, right? So when he was in jail, it was a baker and a cupbearer that was in jail. And they had a dream, or he had a dream. I'm gonna mess up this story, but you need to go read it to clarify it. But I'm gonna do a summation, okay? You read it to clarify it and tell me what it really was, right? So he interpreted the dream. I got that part right, right? And what happened was when they got out of jail, they was like, "We're gonna remember you, Joseph."
Mm-hmm.
They got out. They didn't remember him right away because they was partying because they free from jail. Like, hey, can't hold me down, all them things, you know. But a couple years go by, and the king needs somebody to interpret dream. Oh, nobody can do it. You know what? It was a guy named Joseph, right? Joseph is still in jail. Joseph is still being true to him. Joseph is still probably interpreting dreams down there. Why? Because that gifting is in him, right? And then they called him up. He came, he interpreted, and he got promoted way beyond what he was before. Why? What am I saying? When we just keep doing what it is we're supposed to be doing, when we trust the process of doing whatever it is we're supposed to be doing, when it's our time, that door is going to open. But people are dependent on your yes. And I promise, if you say yes and if you do what it is you're supposed to do, it's going to blow your mind just as well as it blows theirs.
Yes. So good. So many nuggets from that story. And I encourage, if you are not familiar,
yes,
to read it, because you hit the head on the nail with that one, Jen. So good.
You know, we can't give up. We cannot give up, friends. We have to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
We have to keep pushing forward. And that story is in Genesis chapter 37 through chapter 50. You know, read that whole storyline and find out what happened. And again, you give me your take on how it happened. You know, what you learned from that lesson of Joseph, okay? That it does get crazy. It does look weird. Like, what? Yeah. I went from a pit to the penthouse. You know, essentially that's what happened for him, right? Yeah. Why? Because he just trusted the process. And I get it. It's not always easy. And life will happen, right? Life will happen where you feel like, dang, as soon as I get 2 steps, I get pushed back 10.
Yeah.
I get 1 step, I get pushed back 5. Yeah. Should I even keep going? Guess what? You should. You should. You might be listening. You put your phone down, pick it up so you can see me telling you should. Friend, don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
That 5 steps, but when that step come back up, you stronger. Why? Because you know what not to do to get yourself back there again. Or even if you do go back there again, it's like, all right, what else didn't I learn? What else do I need? You encourage yourself to still stay in that race. Friends, stay in the race. Stay in the race.
Yeah.
What?
That's so good. I just had a thought, and it's like, you lose nothing from not giving up, but you may lose a lot of things by giving up. And so, I just encourage people to continue to stay in the race, in the game. You know, you are not alone, and God's got you. That's my encouragement. God's got you. You may not believe in him, may not know him, but man, you are not alone, and God's got you.
God's got you.
Absolutely.
Ooh, this was good, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I got my soapbox a couple of times, but it was all worth it. I hope you enjoyed that. I love you. That's why, because I care. I get my soapbox sometimes. And I got to get on that soapbox for me too, because friends, it's sometimes I be like, this is for the birds.
Yes.
You know, but friends, if you just hold on just a little while longer, when you see that light at the end of the tunnel, it's like you get more excited. That's like on a work day, right? If you work 9 to 5, let's use that, right? At 10 o'clock, you're like, whew, I only been here an hour. 12 o'clock comes, it's like lunchtime. Whew, just a few more hours. I'm gonna make it. Yeah. When that 4 o'clock hit, whew, it seemed like the time slows down just a second. But when you get to that 4:30, you're like, oh, we almost there. Yep. We almost there. Friends, you are almost there. You're on the brink of something amazing. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep going. I believe in you. I believe in you. I want you to believe in you too. Because I believe in me.
Yes.
Right? Because if I'm gifted to do these things, I want to do these things. I'm trying to help somebody. Yes. And it's working for somebody. That means I got to keep on going.
Yeah.
Somebody listening. Okay. Right? Friends,
Absolutely.
is there one? Funmi, what is something that you want us to walk away with?
Oh man, I think you said it. You said it. You said, I believe in me. And I'm like, yes, like that belief that you have the ability, that you have the capacity, that you have those who are even cheering for you on the sidelines that may not be visible, right? But they're cheering for you, right? They're supporting you. They're encouraging you. May be praying for you. And it's like sometimes you have to encourage yourself. And I like what you said, Jen, about writing things down. I have a board of encouragement that has different sticky notes full of different things that encourage me, different Bible verses, different little sayings, maybe even cards from people that have thanked me or have spoken into my life. And I feel like when I look at that board of encouragement, oh man, it just reminds me of the feeling or the thought of when I received the thing or when I read the thing, that I'm able, and you are able as well, like to encourage yourself even in the lowest of lowest pits, the darkest of darkest days. Like there's still light at the end of the day, and God's got you. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Yeah, you have the capacity, and there's so much more for you to do, and you're needed.
And you're needed.
Yes.
This was so good. I thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I am elated. This was great.
Thank you. Yes, I had an amazing time. I love this, and I needed it as well, because sometimes you need to be reminded as why the Lord has called you, because there are people that need to hear and be encouraged and hear the testimony. So thank you so much for having me, Jen.
I thank you. I'm going to say this and I'm going to let you go. Another friend I had on, she shared how sometimes we get discouraged because a lot of people are doing the different things that we're trying to do. And she said, those people that are called to your voice will find you, will hear you, and will be encouraged by what it is that you say. Why? Because they depend on your yes. You doing it right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of different people out here doing stuff, but it doesn't stifle what it is that you're trying to do. You know? It's something different about what you do that causes me like, I know some good cooks, right? But it sounds like they make you want some good potato salad, this one you want to go to.
Yeah.
You want some good yams, you might have to go to this one. But it's some people that have just perfected some things, and like, that's the person I need to go see. And when you find that person, go find that person. So yes, Mama Wanda, be encouraged. You be encouraged too, Mama Wanda. Everybody listening, be encouraged. Why? Because there's more and greater for you. Again, I thank you so much for joining us this evening. May you have an amazing night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if there's anyone watching who has any interest in following me at all, if for whatever reason you want to be encouraged, my name is Funmi.encourages. I think I can put it. Can I put it in the chat?
I'm going to share it.
Yeah.
That was wrong. Hold on. Let me edit.
And just, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Yes, at Funmi.encourages. Thank you so much, Jen. And again, thank you for the opportunity. I pray and hope that you're all encouraged.
Yes. Right. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, friends. That was good. I hope that you enjoyed that. Oh, it was so good. Again, you can check out Funmi at Funmi.encourages. She is on Instagram and all that fun jazz. Let me find my thing. Bam, there we go. I'm back. Hey. Okay, so you can go and check her out. She's on some amazing things, some great posts, different things to share with people to let them know, hey, you can do this. Whatever it is you are gifted to do, be encouraged in doing it. Oh, thank you again so much for tuning in, friends. Don't forget our quote of the day. Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. John Rockefeller. Again, don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. So good, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. A couple of announcements. Again, if you ever have a topic or a guest that you would like to recommend for Jen Cares, don't hesitate to send them over. We are now scheduling for June. Guess why? Because we stay ahead of the game, not behind the game, to make sure that we continue to bring you some great information. So you just email that to me at info@chozencounselors.com, and I'll be sure to work to connect with them to see how to bring them in. I also want to share about the meetup. We had an amazing time on last weekend. We went to the White Dog Cafe. It was amazing. And it's just a time for us to come together, get an accountability partner, help us stay on track with whatever our goals are. So be sure to visit our website if you're interested in being a part. I'm always going to share about my lovely journal because it is still selling. So I know we're in March, but hey, this is a self-care themed journal and it's called Chosen for This Planner and Journal, written by yours truly. So if you want one, go ahead over to the website and you can purchase one yourself. As we shared earlier, this is Women's History Month, and today we honor Madam Speaker, Joanna McClinton, the first female speaker of the PA House of Representatives. She is an amazing friend, and now she will no longer be friend. She will no longer be Joanna. She will be Madam Speaker. Why? Because I'm putting some respect on her name, and she's doing a dang thing. I'm so excited for her. Friends, again, I do appreciate you all for joining us. Be sure to join us next week as we will have Kelly Miles for Surviving in Spite of. We marching and we surviving in spite of whatever is trying to knock us off our cue. Okay? So join us next week. It's going to be good. I hope that you enjoyed yourself tonight. I'm going to get out your way. May you have a great evening and a great week on purpose. Why? Because you're chosen for this. I believe in you. Be sure to believe in you too.
Left, right, left.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chozencounselors.com. That's chosen with a Z, so that you can stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode next Monday at 8 p.m. right here as we specialize in bringing the community to you.